seen it.
Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt, talking with Shannon, Roberta, S.A., Salmon-Haas. She has a lot of names about immigration, deportation, and protests. If you want to comment about what's going on in the news today or in Los Angeles or in San Antonio, give us a call here at the radio station. We're live today, June 14th. You can call 210-308-8867. That's 210-308-8867. And you can ask Shannon a question about immigration law. In the last segment, we were talking about people that were deported to South Sudan, even though they weren't from there. We were talking about people that lost their special program. What's it called?
The humanitarian.
Permission to stay. Yeah, right. Humanitarian permission. That was from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. And now I wanted to talk about Abrego Garcia versus Noem. Is this the Maryland man who was deported?
Yeah.
So tell me what you know about this.
The same thing everybody else knows. Allegedly, he was just driving his son to school one day and he got detained. He was sent to, where did they send him to? Venezuela?
I think so.
Yeah. And so right now, no, I'm sorry, El Salvador.
Right.
And so they managed to get him back because they said it was an error, an administrative error.
Mm-hmm.
And they did bring him back. And then now they've charged him, right, with trafficking. The federal government has charged him. They're trying to prosecute him. They're saying that he is involved with trafficking of...
Yeah, well, I had heard that he was a criminal anyway. But that's news in my bubble. That's what everybody was saying.
Right, it's good we talk, yeah, so we can compare notes.
Mm-hmm.
I try so hard to not live in a bubble.
They said that he was a gang member.
Yeah, it sure doesn't. I mean, I don't have any information on that one way or the other,
right.
Obviously.
But the reason that there's this court case was because... he was deported to El Salvador, and some of the politicians in Washington were upset because they said it was a mistake.
Right.
And I think the story goes that President Trump talked with the president of El Salvador,
mm-hmm.
and the president from El Salvador said, I'm not going to send him back. Mm-hmm. And so President Trump said, well, I tried.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess he made it his way back to Maryland, and they're going to charge him with something else.
Yeah. I kind of, if you really put me on the spot and I had to go with my gut, which I do because I don't have facts, obviously, like what evidence the feds have, what kind of evidence they have against him. If we were his attorneys, if we were his criminal attorneys,
mm-hmm.
we would review the file. We would look at all the discovery.
Right.
Maybe it's a situation where we open up that file and we're like, look, man, we got to cut some kind of deal here. You know, they've got you.
Mm-hmm.
The federal government, when they bring a case, they don't bring a case lightly. Right? I mean, you did a little bit of criminal law, so you know that about the federal cases. I mean, there's a lot of state cases where...
poquito.
Very good. But so you know that they usually have all their ducks in a row. It's really rare that you even see someone trying a federal case because they prove it up so good. They don't bring it until they have everything they need. Now, this world feels a little foreign to me because things are happening that I've never seen happen before. You know, we were talking about that in the last segment. So maybe that's not their MO anymore. But generally in the past, if the feds have a case against you, unfortunately, they have some really good evidence against you. He looks like a nice man to me. I mean,
Well, didn't his wife say that he beat her?
I didn't hear that part. I mean, I saw his lawyer on TV is all I saw.
Oh, okay.
And his lawyer was pushing hard for him. And he just looks like a very nice... I'm not one to jump to conclusions, you know?
Yeah. Well,
And I feel for him, you know. I mean, I don't think he woke up...
Even if he is a criminal.
Well, he deserves every right that our Constitution affords somebody. He deserves a
That's what
fair
I like
shot.
about you. Bring it back to the Constitution.
Yeah, the Constitution and also the Bible, you know, because that's a human. He did not wake up that morning and say, I want to be the center of a nationwide scandal, and I want everyone to know my name. And he just wanted to get his kid to school, you know.
Well, here's something with the conservatives wrestle with.
Yeah.
Is why do non-citizens have constitutional rights?
And you know the answer. Yeah.
Because they're here.
Yeah. And the Constitution says so. Right.
So
and it's also good policy. In addition to being in our Constitution, which I have the utmost respect for, like there's a reason why our Constitution ended up the way it was. You know, I'm a Christian, so you know I've got all these God philosophies and stuff like that. But in addition to just that reason, it's also really good policy. And we had to struggle with this in our country when we went through the whole, when slavery was ending. And so there are these people that formerly had not been even considered people. And so we've been here before. We've struggled with this. And we decided we can't have this subclass of people. Like it's bad for everybody if there's a subgroup where we're allowed to just pretend they're not human and they're just... It's not playing out. It doesn't play out well.
You're talking about the 14th Amendment?
Right.
Equal protection.
Right. It's just good policy that any person here within our jurisdiction, that you deserve like this bare minimum modicum of rights. Because we believe our rights come straight from God. We don't believe we get our rights because a king said we could have them.
Right.
We're very special. We're very unique.
So let me just try and summarize what I think you said. That
I was rambling a little bit. I'm sorry.
Even if he is illegal, even if he is a criminal.
And you know I don't like that term. I stand by my. I know I get a lot of flack. Your friend that's on here, that George. Yeah, I know he hates it when I say that.
Let me just ask the question.
Okay.
Undocumented.
Okay.
Here without permission.
Okay.
Criminal, violated the law.
Okay.
Even if he is found to have done all those things, he's still allowed due process.
Because he has to be found that the key word for me there was found. So is he going to be found to have done all those things by a masked person on the sidewalk that isn't forced to identify himself? Or is he going to be found to have done all those things by a judge after proper legal procedure has been applied? My concern is for me and you. Because if it can happen to him, it can happen to me and you. And I know you're going to say that's crazy, but if the person who's finding these things just can arbitrarily say, it's you, it's you, it's you, it's you.
Yeah, well, that's why I was asking you what the legal standard is. Can ICE remove somebody with reasonable suspicion?
Can a police officer go up to you on the sidewalk and say, I saw you drunk driving, that's it, you're done? No, they can't.
Well, they can take you to the jail.
Right, that's true. But there's a process. There's a legal procedure that's going to happen after that to see if you actually were doing that. Normally, the person on the ground, you know, the law enforcement personnel, utmost respect for them. I sleep safe at night because of law enforcement. I am very patriotic, very appreciative of everything law enforcement does. But there's a reason in this country why traditionally we have not said, you know, we have a long history, and we have not said the law enforcement personnel on the ground has the right, they are the judge and the jury, and they just say and it happens.
How do you know that that ICE is taking the van from rounding up people at their work site to the airport? Maybe they are going through the proper channels. They take them to jail. There's a hearing. The judge says, you're being removed this afternoon. He had his due process.
Well, they are doing some I'll give you that. They are following some of the legal procedures. Like the low-hanging fruit were those cases we talked about a minute ago, where Biden said, here you go. The Biden administration said, you can have this. Trump can say, those people were in a very precarious position. You know what I mean? So you've got a green card holder here, right? A legal permanent resident. They have a due process right. The Trump administration is going to have a really hard time going after somebody like that. There's a legal procedure in the law right now where someone can fight their removal case if they're being removed. If you've been here even if you have completely no documents, there's something called cancellation of removal, and it's in the law. It is the law, and you can apply for it. So the Trump administration is going after the easiest cases first, right? People that were already in a very shaky, precarious position.
But there's still people protesting about the removal.
I think it's what you said earlier also. I'm not the kind of person who goes and does protests, like this is not my bag, you know. But if I were to be there, it would be because of the way it's being done.
Okay, thank you for explaining.
And you too. Would you ever go to protest the way?
I would, but I don't know enough about this because I haven't seen masked men taking people off the streets. We got to take a break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Each week, attorney Todd Marquardt talks about the law. His mission with the Talk Law Radio show and podcast is to help you discover your legal issue blind spots. In the beginning, God had one law. Don't eat from the fruit of that tree. Then came the Ten Commandments. Now we have federal, state, and municipal lawmakers that won't stop creating new laws. Laws that might impact you without you knowing it. Listen to the show and drop a line on Facebook or email host@talklawradio.com and let the host know what you think of the show, the topics you want to hear, and whether you want to be a guest.